Hi, what's up with my hottie crew? I'm still getting used to that. Today we're talking about dating nightmares. That's right. This is the fifth episode in my little series of dating after a long term relationship or dating after divorce. So, this is for you if you've been in a long term relationship, let's say 5 or more years, and you probably more though, more like 10 or beyond, right? And you're probably an older millennial or Gen X, and you have been out of the game for a long time. And now you are dating again, and you don't know where to begin, and you don't know what to do, and you're trying to figure your life out. So, this series is for you. Today is a very special episode. Consider this like my Taylor Swift moment, okay? I am in my full Swift energy, Swifty energy, because today I am spilling all the tea. All right. So if you don't know me, I'm Kia. I am a coach. I've been coaching for quite a few years now, since 2019. I've probably coached over a few thousand people at the London Real Academy, where I'm a performance coach, and I help them get through the courses by giving them tips, tricks, and strategies. I can't talk today. Um, for success. So the goal with this is to bring those skills to the dating landscape and share my experiences and what I'm learning because I'm doing it right now. Okay. Right now. So, if you didn't catch the first episode, I talked all about why I'm doing this and a little bit about my backstory so you could get to know me. And then in episode two, we started talking about getting your mind right. And then we started talking about getting your outside right. So, get your inside right, get your outside right. Right. And then last week, we talked about figuring out what you want, right? We talked about figuring out what you really want, what you're looking for, because you've got to know that before you can do anything in this space, right? You got to know what you're looking for, what qualities you want, and what your values are, right? So that you can meet a partner that matches that value, and that gives you, what you need, or that's willing to work with you on giving you what you need anyway. And so we want healthy relationships. Healthy, happy relationships is the goal. And it's hard out here. It really is. It's hard out here. I was warned. I was warned that it was hard out here. And it is, because what I have found, and I know that I have a lot of male audience and I have female audience too. It's almost like 50-50 when I look at my analytics, which is awesome. Um, that way I can help the most people, whoever I'm meant to reach. That's my intention, by the way. Whoever I'm meant to reach that vibes with me and vibes with my message, then it's for you, right? So, um, essentially, it's about helping you get back out there and meeting a person that is, someone for you, that you can love, and that loves you, and that's a healthy, happy relationship. Right? Hi George. Hi sweetie. I'm glad to see you. I missed you. I hope you're doing well. So, this is why you set your notifications for when I come live, because you never know when I'm going to come live. I like to come live on every other Wednesday in the morning when I have time, when my kids at school. But sometimes I come live in the evenings now because it just works better. So, getting back on topic, there's a lot of, honestly, low vibrational people out here, right? There's a lot of broken, damaged people out here, both men and women. Right. And this is something that we have to be aware of when we've come out of a long term relationship. We've already gone through so much. It took so much to leave that relationship, whether you were left or you did the leaving. There was so much that led up to that, and then there was so much that happened afterwards that it's just like a difficult transition in life. Like it's serious, right? And so basically what we have to do is sort of pick ourselves up, put ourselves back together and try to heal that. But the problem is a lot of people out here, they're not aware or they don't know and they're not doing the work. Bottom line is like they're just not doing the work for healing themselves and being actually really ready. So what I'm seeing out here is that there's just a lot of people who put themselves in the dating space before they're really ready mentally, emotionally to be in the dating space, right? So then you have people and obviously there's just some bad people. Okay. Like there are just some really toxic individuals out here that you need to know how to use your discernment to avoid, whether you're dating online or whether you're dating in real life or IRL. As I said in the last episode, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It was good. I watched it again. I thought it was pretty good. My friends are saying they like it. So watch it, share it, get this message to someone who might need it. Maybe you know someone who's been married for 20 years and now they've been single for several months or a year and they don't know what to do. I don't know why my phone always blows up when I'm live. But anyway, so they don't know what to do, right? They don't know how to get back out there. They're maybe afraid to start doing online dating because that wasn't around when they were started dating their ex-spouse or their ex-partner, right? So it's a different landscape. It really is. And you can't be afraid of it. I know, oh my God, I know how scary it can be, but you can't be afraid to put yourself back out there. But I caution you, like, do the internal work first. Make sure that you are healed from that breakup before you put yourself out here, because you know what they say, and I know it's cliche, I know this, but it's true. Hurt people. But guess what? Healed people can heal people. But the thing is about that is usually they get hurt first. So before they can heal you, that connection is sabotaged or they're pushed away or something like that. So I know I promised to share some tea, and I'm going to. I'm in my full Taylor Swift vibes right now. And sorry, exes, but you're getting put on blast, okay? And some of them aren't exes in all fairness. Some of these stories are just people that I met while online dating. And I look at online dating, by the way, like an experiment, okay? I want to talk to men. I was always a good girl, right? The good girl vibes. And I never really dated that much. I wasn't one of those girls that dated around. I was always someone's girlfriend, someone's fiance, someone's wife, that kind of situation. And so for me, this is really fun and exciting to just try talking to different men and seeing what they're on and what they're about and what their lives are like. And I look at even dating like, hey, maybe I'll make a new friend. So this is a good mindset that you might enjoy having, like, oh, I'll have lunch with this person. It might be a really good time. We might have some fun. Maybe we'll part as friends. Um, at worst, I had a great meal, or maybe you had a horrible meal and you hope you never see the person again. That can also happen. I've definitely experienced that as well. So I put a strategy in place to prevent me from going through things like that. So, like I said last week, I normally will get the person off the app, text with them a little bit, see if I feel comfortable giving them my phone number. We'll exchange numbers. We might talk on the phone. That's the next step. So I look at it like, have you ever been to a model search or know of them? In the old days, you used to have these model searches and all these people would go. I went to one. I got tricked into it. Actually, a shout out to Olivia Charles DuPont. And so I thought I was waiting with her because I was her ride. And I inadvertently went through the whole model search to the end. And I didn't realize that at every stage, people were getting cut. and people were going home, but I didn't realize it because I was going through, right? And I didn't know that's how it worked till I got to the end. And no, I did not become a model. I was way too insecure to go through with it back then, all truth be told. But that's how I look at dating. So I'm like, did we make it to the phone call? Fine, you passed that stage. Did we make it through to after the phone call? We do a video call. I find it a little bit weird if someone won't do a video call with me. I know that I'm used to it because I coach students online and I coach students from all over the world. So we're always on Zoom or whatever video app. And it's easy for me. It's like nothing. I have made such good friends that I've had for years that I've never even met in person because of this technology, right? So, but for some people, they feel shy about it. So I try to get them to feel a little bit more comfortable about it because I don't like blind dates. Honestly, it just makes me feel more comfortable to meet someone on video before I meet them in person. And actually, when I do that, the first date that we have is so much more relaxed. It's like kind of we know each other a little bit and we've seen each other, we've interacted. It was a good time. We're actually more excited. The first date is usually a lot more fun that way, right? So for men, usually if they're interested enough, they are willing to do things for you. Men need to make sacrifices for you. If they like you, they will make sacrifices, small and big, depending on how they feel about you. So to me, a guy not being willing to do a video call with me means that he doesn't like me very much. Unless he's like, "Oh, I'm so weird about it, whatever." Then I'm not like, it's not rigid, you know what I mean? I'm open, but I prefer it. And if he's really weird about it though, I don't he doesn't make it past that. And that's what you have to make it past to get to go on the date. As a woman, you got to be careful out here, right? So okay. That's one of my dating nightmares. I have had a guy get really, really, really weird about the video call. Like, honestly, he was all like, "What are you scared?" And I was like, that's a pretty, no one ever said that before. And he was like, really kind of like, "I've never done that. I don't want to do that. I'm really uncomfortable with that." And I was like, "Hey, like if you're really uncomfortable with it, I understand. It's just that it does make me feel more comfortable." Now, I know that a lot of masculine men that are in their healthy masculine want to protect a female and want her to feel comfortable and want to do what will make her feel good and safe. Because men are supposed to make women feel safe, to be relaxed and soft and feminine. That's kind of how it works, right? So for me, that was a big, big red flag because I get a guy who's like, "I'm a little uncomfortable with it, but yeah, I'll do it," or "I'm kind of uncomfortable with it. Do you mind if we just talk more on the phone," or something like that? But to be really put off and just almost like think I'm weird because I would like to see you on video before I see you. And it's kind of catfishy, right? It's very catfishy. Hold on. So, with that in mind, let's talk about catfish. I have had so many catfish. And I'm not talking about only catfish that, they have a fake profile online and then they start talking to you. And then they're like, "What are you looking for?" Within like 2 seconds of talking to you. "How long have you been on this app?" Right? Like, and they're just all trying to gauge if you know what a catfish is or if you've been catfished before and if you're going to like report them before they get a chance to lure you in or whatever, or they get a chance to drop you. So, but what I have found that is catfish are always really easy to talk to. The conversation always flows, and sometimes I just toy with them because it's fun, right? And then I always tell them, this is wrong, right? It's not right what you're doing. It's bad karma. They don't ever like that. But some of them are forced into do it. If you've ever heard those stories of like places over in like, I don't know if it's Malaysia, I can't remember where it is, but they have like whole compounds of people that are like into forced slavery, into catfishing, by the way. Anyway, so I have had in-person catfishes though. Yes, I have. My very first catfish was the first time I ever tried online dating was 2 years ago. And my dating coach, shout out to my coach Marta on Instagram. If you don't know who that is, go follow her. She's been on Hot Topics Live a few times. So if you go to the Hot Topics Live page and scroll back through the episodes, you'll find it. Or I think on YouTube, I have playlists now. So you can go and look for dating and relationships or something like that and you'll find it in there. So it's my assistant should have made it easier for you to find it. But anyway, if not, it's a work in progress. Bear with me. So essentially, I was on I was on a dating app, and I was on there only for like 2 weeks and I met this man, right? And I was very keen to date black guys. I date everything, by the way. I like what I like when I like it. But at the moment, I wanted to date black guys. So I went on there and there was a guy on there and he wasn't bad. He kind of had like a Denzel kind of thing happening. And so like, his son too, he has a son, Denzel Washington. And it was kind of like a mix between him and his son, right? But just taller. And I thought, okay, well, let's give that a go. Right. And he was very prompt in like asking me out because I also think that men should ask you out. Some of these guys, I think it's the younger generation, because I also date younger, feel like, they're the prize and that you should ask them out and stuff like that. And as a woman of the 90s, I really grew up asking guys out. Like it was like a badge of honor. It was like, I will ask you out because I can and I want to, and you'll say yes. And that's kind of how it happened for me back then. Because when you're young, everybody's beautiful when they're young, right? So, and there was lots of choices because I was in the Navy. So there was lots of men everywhere. I had a chance to date anyone I wanted, really. So if they were interested, and so back then it was different. It was like, Don't be afraid to ask out a guy. Go ask him out if you want to go out with him." But now I've learned so much, like as a woman, that men value you more when they've had to make more effort for you. That's just been my experience. I mean, if you've had a different experience, feel free to drop a comment. If you're watching live, drop a comment and I'll put it up on the screen. And that's how you'll be part of the show. We can have a whole conversation about it. You can ask questions, whatever, if you're watching live. If not, feel free to drop a comment. I am answering comments. So, because I don't have a lot now, because this show is basically pretty young, or I just started promoting it, and not just building content, then now I'm trying to answer comments and all of that stuff. So drop them. I don't have a lot. Why not? It'll make my day. So put your thoughts and your feedback down there. And we'll let's have a conversation about it. But so anyways, let's get back to this catfish because I can go on a tangent, as you can tell. So he asks me out fairly promptly, and this is before I had my system in place of the phone call, the video call, all of that, right? Because this is one of the reasons why I put it in place. And he was all like, "Okay, well, let's meet out. Let's meet at this rooftop bar in Portland." And I was like, "Okay, cool," because I don't get to Portland that often, and I want to start exploring around. So I was like, "Cool." I had a photo shoot that day. I do pinup, right? Sexy, pretty, classy, not, you know, I'm completely covered for the most part. So don't think it's anything more than that, but it's fun. This is my second cover. You can go to my Instagram at Creativity, my main one, and follow my pinup journey. And I'm new at it, but I'm just getting started. And it's all about body positivity, doing things at any age that you want to do. And, it's never too late to have a new dream, all that kind of good stuff. And you can follow it at Creativity. And you can get the links for my covers on there. And you can DM me if you want to know how to get I've been in 5. So if you want to get the rest of them, just DM me and I'll send you a link to where to go to find them. It's Retro Lovely Magazine, by the way. So shout out to those guys for seeing something in this girl, and putting me in their magazines. Okay, so this catfish, I was doing a photo shoot and I went directly from the photo shoot to meet this guy for drinks. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have a drink. I don't ever have more than 2 drinks out with a guy on the first date, by the way. And I space them apart and I try to eat food and stuff like that and drink plenty of water because I like to keep my wits about me. So don't drink too much when you go out on your first few dates till you have established trust, by the way. That's another tip. And anyway, this catfish, I'll tell you why he's a catfish. First of all, when I get to the date, the first thing he does is he looks at me and he says, "You're exactly like your pictures." And I go, "Yeah." And he wasn't, though, by the way. And he goes, "Yum," which, okay, I get it. I get it. But yuck at the same time. Like immediately, I'm like, no, that's a no. So if you don't say yum, don't do that. If you're a gentleman watching, don't do that. Probably if you watch my show, you probably wouldn't do that. Anyway, so so I was immediately put off by him. Okay. And then we had drinks and he was just trying to get me drunk the whole time. But while we were talking, I was asking him questions. And I slowly began to realize that this guy was not just a few years older than his profile said. He was like 20 to 25 years older than his profile said. And he looked young, but I could tell he was a little older. So I was asking him probing questions. And being that we were both in the military, I was asking him about his assignment. And as he gave me information about the operation that he was on, I, being a history nerd of anything, I started thinking, well, what operations were going on there and at what time in history? And then he showed me a picture. He's like, this is me. And he was with like shooting his gun or whatever. And he was on the ground. And I looked at the color of the photo and I thought, oh my God. Oh my God. That shit looks old. Okay. Looks like old, old. Okay. So naturally, then he proceeded to tell me, I asked him why him and his girlfriend broke up. And it wasn't his wife. His wife had and him had been broken up 10 years before that. They were married for 30 years. Like he was with this woman for 7 years, like I'm doing the math. His daughters are a couple of years younger than me, like maybe at the most like 15. But he had like 5 of them, but they were not like I think the oldest one was maybe like 7 years younger, 6 years younger than me. And and I was like, "Oh, this guy is 25 years older than me." And he said that he was 3 years older than me in his profile. So, red flag on that. Big lie. Not even okay, I wouldn't have been mad if he was like a couple years off, you know what I mean? But like 25 years, come on now. That's crazy. So, anyways, what he told me was that basically he admitted that he had been stringing that poor woman along and he would have kept doing it if she'd have let him, but she left him, basically, is what he told me. And I couldn't get out of there fast enough. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. Oh my God. And from then on, he became known as my old man catfish. So that's that guy. And that's not the only catfish that I've had. I've had the kind that just want to talk to you for a couple of days and then ghost. I consider those catfish because then they pretend like they're interested, but they're not really interested. What they're just looking for is some entertainment. That's different. That's different. And I wish they'd be honest because maybe I don't feel like going on a date, but like I could just hang out with a guy chatting and shit for a couple of days and be fine with it. You know what I mean? Like, you know? Um, so, but there are nightmares. These are not big nightmares. Okay. There are nightmares. Mine, I'm fortunate, admittedly. I am fortunate. When I was at London Real Academy as a student, I was taking the broadcasting course, and there was a girl who, I won't say her name, but she was going through the course with me. And we got to talking, and she told me about her husband. And if you have ever watched those shows like Who the Bleep Have I Married, this was her situation. So those are nightmares. Like, I say it kind of tongue in cheek because we all go through bullshit, really, or BS, really, when we're dating sometimes, and it's mild. But there are women who, like this woman, meet a man and he was like a dream. Idealized her. He had her on a pedestal. He was so amazing to her for a long period of time, to the point where they got engaged and they got married. And on her honeymoon night, he attacked her, beat her, assaulted her, and tried to kill her on her honeymoon night. She managed to get away, but the trauma. So that is a real nightmare. There are women who go on a date and they never come home. They just disappear, or they're found dead. Like, those are the real dating nightmares, which is why it makes me feel uncomfortable when someone won't get on a video call with me, but they want me to go meet them out in person, right? They want me to come, get dressed up, get dolled up, come out, meet them out, and they're nothing like what they said or they presented themselves to be, or they're a predator. Okay. So there are monsters out there, and you have got to be careful. And don't think I'm just talking to women, I'm talking to men as well. How many women stories have you heard of killing their husbands? Right? It happens. What was the name of that movie with Charlize Theron? Monster, wasn't it? There, it happens. Okay. So we have to be aware that there are dangers out there, and we have to be cautious, and we have to take steps to protect ourselves. So this is going long today. So I want to get to some points. Um, there's ways to avoid getting hurt in relationships, right? And one of my catfish that I actually had a whole relationship with him. I call him my in-person catfish. I thought he was a catfish because when we met online, he was in Ukraine, and but he was doing something really altruistic there, and I was really impressed by it. So he ended up coming back here. And this person, I'd never been love bombed before. And I mean, I guess maybe he's just really, really nice, but you could look at it like love bombing, I think. And I totally fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Let me tell you what, I honestly believed, how lucky was I that I met someone online, after being online dating for the first time in my life, only maybe a month, if that, 3 weeks. Okay. Was the next person I met after the old man catfish. And I proceeded to have a relationship with this person for 6 months, and they changed. Now, I'm not going to get into too many of the specifics. Okay. But I will share a warning with you. If you are in a relationship with someone who tells you that they love you, but does not want to work out anything with you, they never loved you. Okay. Remember that people who really care about you and have good intentions for you and for the relationship, they will put in the work. Relationships take work. They're not just the honeymoon stage, and then when that's done, it's over. You go into the power struggle phase. So if you don't know there are 6 stages of a relationship, you have to look them up. You have to Google them. And if you don't know attachment theory, you should learn that as well, because those 2 things will really help you going forward in your relationships. I will recommend the Personal Development School on YouTube. I love Thais Gibson. Shout out to her. I don't know her. I have taken some courses there at her personal development school. I would recommend it. I enjoyed them. I enjoy all her YouTube stuff, and I find it very, very helpful. And she's getting even more comprehensive for free on YouTube, so you should check it out. But I will say that if you don't know that stuff, it's so helpful. And you might meet something, you might know that stuff, and the person you meet doesn't. You should share it with them because it will help you. And someone who's healing and on their healing journey, we're all at different stages. But if you go into a relationship, you're supposed to be on the same team. And as teammates, there's no power dynamic. So, this person told me they were controlling. I just didn't realize that you could be subtly controlling. You could, and that's manipulative. It's subtle manipulations and things like that to be controlling, you know. And I realized that there was a problem too late, because when someone doesn't want to work on the issues, when they don't want to address or have any conflict and work things out within the relationship, they don't really care about you. And you also have to listen to what people tell you. This is going to be a big way you can avoid getting hurt. Okay. I'm going to jump into this because I want to wrap up this live really soon. I'm not trying to keep these a little shorter than the regular Hot Topics live episodes. But when you want to avoid getting hurt in relationships, there's ways to do it. And I learned so much. This is what I call a karmic lesson. And this was a nightmare for me because, for me, in all honesty, I accepted treatment that I know is beneath me because I was so in disbelief, to be honest with you, of what I experienced. Right. And so you have to listen to what people tell you. Maya Angelou said, people tell you who they are. You have to listen. Okay. Your thoughts, you might want to write this down. Your thoughts create your emotions. So if you can control your thinking, you can control your emotions. If you listen to what people tell you, you can avoid getting hurt. So this guy told me he was controlling. He told me that. He told me he was a trickster. He told me he was a hustler. So why was I so in disbelief, you know, that he would say he cared deeply for me, and it wasn't true. People tell you who they are. It's your choice to listen. See, the problem is, especially women, this is for the ladies, we tend to think that we're the exception. And you are all beautiful, special, unique people. You are. But you're not always the exception. And we want to believe that. We want to be the special one so bad that we don't listen. So, and a man will tell you, and he will remind you, and you have to listen. And you have to, if you want to avoid getting hurt in relationships, you always have to be willing to detach, to be detached. I'm not saying don't fall in love with people and be cold and be heartless and be cruel. I'm not saying that. I'm saying do not deeply attach quickly. Take your time. Firm boundaries will protect you from narcissists. Number one, not saying he was. I don't diagnose people. I don't know whether he is or he isn't, but I don't think he is. I think he's just a person who was not as far along on their healing journey as I was. I think maybe I don't know. I can't speculate. That's on him. But I don't think he was genuine with me, is my point. And that is why I consider him a catfish. Okay. Even though he was in person and he showed up and we dated and we had a blast together, but he lied about what he wanted. He lied about what he was looking for. He lied. He lied to have the opportunity to spend the time with me. And then he moved on with his life, which is his right to do. But I would have had much more respect for it if he was honest from the beginning, because when I met him, I was open to a short term relationship. And he presented like he wanted something long term, to be with me, to be with my family, and all of that. But as soon as problems arose, he was unwilling to work on them. That is a sign. Someone who really loves you, who really cares about you, will do whatever it takes to work things out with you. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, and you both go, okay, this is not working. This is not working. And then you part and you can be friends or whatever. But remember, don't deeply attach too soon. I made that mistake. That was the big mistake. And I'm sharing with you my mistake so that you don't have to live the heartbreak that I lived with. So remain detached for, I'm not saying be cold, but I mean, don't start telling yourself all this stuff. Don't start planning a future in your head. Don't start your thoughts and all of this positive projection and idealization you're putting on this new person will affect your heart, and your heart will get you attached, right? Especially don't sleep with them right away. I mean, you're an adult, you do what you want with your body. If you can sleep with people and not get emotionally attached to them, then by all means have fun. But if that's not you, don't do that. Don't do it. You're setting yourself up. And then by all means, just wait. Give it time. Let them show you that they love you. You show them through your actions that they love, that you love them, and let it happen organically. Don't force anything in the love department, right? Always be willing to walk away if the relationship is not meeting your standards or needs. That will keep you safe. I'm not saying have one foot out the door all the time. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just know that if something is not working and you've tried your best to make it work, you need to have a deadline for when you're going to walk away, of putting your best effort, right? That will keep you safe. So, firm boundaries, being willing to be detached, right? I'm not going to say you match energy because I don't really like that term. I used to say it all the time, but I don't really like it. I think that if someone's putting effort, you can put effort, right? But don't be putting more effort than they are. And if you're in a relationship with a person and they're pulling away, don't lean in. Don't chase them. Don't try to fix it all on your own. Like, take a step back. Take a step back and let them figure it out. If they figure out that they don't want to be in the relationship, fine. But if they're already there, you cannot change their mind. They have to change it on their own. We can't control anyone. So you take a step back too and let them come back to you. When they come back to you, then you resume, you match the energy, you figure it out, try to talk about it. I think communication is really important, but comprehension is even better. You can talk to each other, but if you're not understanding each other, the relationship is not going to work. And let me tell you, that was part of the problem that I had with another partner, was we kept talking to each other, but we weren't comprehending each other. So the relationship couldn't work anyway. It had to be short-lived, right? So that's another thing. So being willing to be detached, to take a step back, to not chase, to let men have their space, to let women have their space, right? If they need space, let people come towards you, you know, don't fill all the spaces. It's necessary. It's a dance. You know what I mean? It's a dance. And then there's something really important to know if you are going through a breakup, and it's the easiest way to get over somebody. And if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, because this is probably the most important thing. It is focus on their flaws. If you stop thinking about how awesome they were and how good you felt in the past, bring yourself into the present and focus on their flaws. I don't care if it's like the weirdest, if it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, focus on their flaws. Think only about their flaws and think only about the bad times. Okay. Seriously, you will start to shift inside so quickly and you will be so ready to move on from that person before you know it. You won't be upset. You won't be crying. You will be ready to move on. Focus on their flaws, focus on the bad times, right? And just think about that. And those thoughts will change the way you feel. And you'll be ready to start healing. That's how you detach. And I know it sounds crazy, but it works, I swear. Okay. So I think I covered everything. Boundaries will keep you safe from narcissists, firm boundaries, and pretty much everybody, right? Um, don't fall for love bombing. Don't do it. Always be sketched out about that. Could be a nice person, take it slow and keep firm boundaries. And if they fall off by the wayside, focus on their flaws and keep it moving. Be willing to be detached, right? To walk away, right? And believe when people tell you who they are. And probably the most important thing of all of that, and I have several more nightmares, maybe I'll share more later, but definitely, definitely trust your gut. If something feels wrong about the person, don't go out on a date with them. Even if you don't know why, you can't even explain it. There's a reason they call your gut another brain, right? It's smart. Okay. And sometimes this brain, we can convince ourselves of stuff. But if you have that feeling in your gut, not to go out with that person, don't do it. If you have that feeling that you should not be with this person, then trust that feeling. If you're starting to date someone and you're not sure if you're seeing red flags, but something just feels off, trust that feeling. And also, if you're dating someone and you have this feeling that they're really incredible, you should explore that. Don't just run from them because you've been hurt before, right? Explore that, but take your time and be cautious, you know? Go slow, pay attention. Don't get too attached too soon. I know if you're in an anxious attachment style, it's really hard not to do that, but you have to try that you can protect yourself. And if you feel someone pulling away from you, pull back. Don't lean in, pull back. If they don't come looking for you, let them go. And that's how you avoid getting hurt. That's how you keep yourself safe. It applies to men and women. There's no like division here. Okay. There's good and bad. There's healed and unhealed. There's toxic this, toxic that, whatever you want to call it, but there's also a lot of really amazing people, and you can find your person. You don't have to give it up. Just take a break if dating becomes overwhelming for you and focus on pouring love and energy into yourself, right? And remember these things, okay? You can find love again after a long term relationship or after a divorce. You just have to be smart about it and be easy, like ease your way back into it. And remember, like I said in the very first episode of this series, it's the law of averages, right? If you got to sometimes talk to a lot of people that are no's before you find one that's worthy of you. And if you take nothing away from my catfish nightmare stories, maybe I'll share some more stories later. I didn't get to all of them because I wanted to cover the key points. But if you take nothing away from that, remember this: worthy. You're worthy and amazing, and you deserve to be loved by someone who's willing to be on your team, to work with you, and to help grow your life together in a beautiful, positive way, right? And there are people out there that will be that. 7 billion people in the world. You cannot tell me there's not several for you. not just one, but several. You just got to find them. And sometimes it means you've got to talk to a lot of people until you find one. And talking to a lot of people can be exhausting and not finding one. So you have to take breaks and then get back out there and give it another shot. Try online, try in person, go to fun places, smile, make eye contact, you know, be friendly, be open, but also trust your gut and don't be afraid to say no to what doesn't feel like it's right for you, right? And sometimes you get told no by someone who doesn't feel like you're right for them. But guess what? That's okay too, because that means there's something better for you out there, someone else better for you. And you can find them as long as you don't give up. So it's the same thing in business. It's the same thing when you want to be successful or you want to complete a course or anything. Success leaves clues. And one of the biggest things that you need to do to be successful is never give up. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you got something from it. I hope that you will come and follow me on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok too with Hot Topics Live Podcast and Creativity, which is Kia and Positivity fused together. So come and join me. You can listen to this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. I appreciate you for watching, for being here, my hottie crew. George, we're calling the crew hotties now. On the one of the episodes, I think 2 weeks ago, everyone watching determined that the people who watch and follow Hot Topics Live would be called the Hotties crew. So thank you for being part of my Hotties crew. You're one of the originals. Thank you so much, George, for tuning in. I might come back at this time on Thursday evenings. I'm not sure, but set your notifications so you know when I come live. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, share this for someone it can help. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next time.